It had been 4 years since I was kicked out as the fake daughter of the Wilson family. I met my ex-boyfriend, who had cheated on me, in a poor mountainous area.
Alzay, he was the newly appointed CEO, and he had come to this remote Gendon area with wheel traditions out of the Wilson near was the much to Sirati gala.
I was wearing a baggy, ill-fitting, dirty outfit and had come to the gala to scrape together a meal. He barely recognized me at first glance.
Chloe, is that you?
The next day, the gala served some of the pastries I used to love. Lucas's eyes were red as he held out his hand to me.
Come back with me when you run out of money, okay?
I can't go back. I only have half a week left. I don't want to see any of them again. And I'd die with Rewint. When he saw I didn't touch the pastries, Lucas frowned in confusion.
Aren't these your favorite things?
I don't like them anymore. People change.
Then what do you want? I'll bring it tomorrow.
He pressed a new piece of clothing into my hand. It was the brand I used to wear all the time, but I didn't deserve the price tag on that clothes anymore. I set it gently on the table and declined. No, I don't want anything to eat. Lucas grabbed my hand, about to say more, when Zoe walked over. She linked her arm through Lucas's affectionately, and I instinctively bowed my head lower. I tried to turn away with dignity, but she called my name. Chloe? Sister Chloe? What are you doing here? The sharp-eared media caught the familiar name and rushed over. Miss Wilson, is this homeless woman the missing family from 2 years ago? Can Chloe speak? Why has she ended up like this? Faced with the reporter's sharp questions, I dug my fingernails into my palms and bowed my head even lower. Lucas grabbed a tablecloth nearby and roughly threw it over my head.
This isn't Chloe, just a nameless homeless woman. I felt sorry for her, so I told Zoe to give her some extra food.
Zoe nodded along. Yeah, how could this lazy good-for-nothing be my competitive sister? My heart ached sharply.
Mr. Carter and Miss Wilson make such a perfect couple. Wealthy and kind.
Speaking of Chloe, I heard Lucas used to date her. Is that true? Lucas was silent for a long time, then finally shook his head.
That's a rumor. There was nothing between Chloe and me. My fiancé has always been Zoe.
A faint flicker of guilt crossed his face right after he spoke. Covered by the stained tablecloth, I quietly slipped into a corner.
You know about the missing Wilson daughter from 4 years ago?
Yeah, how did you know?
I'm her, and I didn't go missing.
After my parents announced I was missing, they cried on TV and offered $100 million reward to the first person who found me. Many people scrambled to search the world for the missing daughter. No one ever found me. Over time, the story was forgotten. When I was little, I was adopted by Mr. and Mrs. Wilson because of my exceptional talent at the orphanage. They raised me to manage money, make profits, and understand finance from an early age. Because of my natural gifts and the Wilson family's support, I grew arrogant, unruly, and fiercely competitive. Mr. and Mrs. Wilson admired my ambition and treated me like their own daughter. Everyone said my future was bright with endless possibilities. Then, in college, I met a poor student at a competition, wearing a shirt washed so many times it was faded white. Maybe it was the lifelong love and spotlight that gave me the courage to be sure of myself. I confessed to him, but I never thought he'd reject me. I learned about his family. He'd come out of the mountains. To put him through college, his grandparents had picked up bottles and trash their whole lives. I started to feel sorry for him. When he couldn't afford tuition, I paid it. When he didn't qualify for competitions, I got him in. I got him everything he needed. Then one day after school, Lucas held me back in the classroom.
Chloe, let's be together.
I naively thought he really liked me, and my care for him grew even stronger. Thankfully, Lucas' talent was just as great as mine. He began to stand out in competitions. My parents were against me dating Lucas at first, but as Lucas' talent showed, they slowly accepted him. Everyone at school thought his lifestyle had jumped up a level because of competition prizes. In truth, it was all my support. But to protect Lucas's pride, we only went public with our relationship at the right time, so no one knew our earlier story. We walked around campus, shopped, and went on dates like any other couple, openly and proudly. We even competed together. Whenever we were in the same place, the spotlight was never on anyone else. Sweet story about us even spread around school. By then, Lucas had changed. He was much better off than when we first met. Even though he had money, he never gave me store-bought gifts for anniversaries. It was always scarves he knitted himself or handmade crafts. Just then, my homeless friend Luna nodded at the small, plain but clean keychain in my pocket. Did he make that too? Yeah, it's a mini version of Lucas. I loved it. It's the only thing I could take with me when I was kicked out. Not long after, the Wilson family found their real daughter, Zoe. I understood why my parents' love shifted to Zoe, because I too loved this little girl who'd suffered for 20 years. But I didn't understand why Lucas started growing closer to Zoe too. I wasn't petty, and I didn't mind him making new friends. But that day, I walked in on him cheating on me. Everything changed after that day. By the time I finished telling the story, Lucas and Zoe had finished their interviews and were looking everywhere for me. My homeless friend Luma noticed and pulled my hand to hide in a cave. Before she left, she grabbed several expensive dishes from the table.
Let's eat all these from the two Tyson jerks. They don't even want to take you home. They're not looking for you for anything good.
Maybe.
I'd long given up hope. I just wanted to stay far away from them. I still remember that day. I'd spent millions on a limited edition pink diamond necklace. I wrapped it up as a gift for Zoe. When I saw this pink diamond necklace, I thought of Zoe immediately. When I pushed open the door, my mind went blank, and I could barely breathe from the pain. My whole life had been easy. I'd never been betrayed. I'd never faced something so humiliating. Lucas froze on the spot. Zoe stammered, unable to speak. Growing up the way I did, I'd learned to put on a brave face and save face no matter how broken I was. No matter how devastated I was, I forced myself to stay calm. Sis, Zoe, you really love picking up other people's trash. Lucas, we're breaking up. Lucas' expression that day was exactly the same as it was now. Shock, disbelief, then red-rimmed eyes. But he only said quietly. That night, I locked myself in my room and cried my eyes out. The man I loved most, and my little sister Zoe. I lashed out at the wall like a coward.
Zoe's taking your place in the competition. Zoe threatened to kill herself. She was hysterical. I couldn't stop her. Please forgive me, okay? Please?
Her cries echoed through the empty mansion. Looking at Mother's wrinkled face, my heart ached terribly. Later, Zoe secretly blackmailed our parents into spending millions to cram finance, competitions, and management into her head. All so she could surpass me, to become the new rising star of the Wilson family. That night at a party, I argued fiercely with Zoe. She raised her arm and slapped me across the face.
Worry about what? That I'd steal your boyfriend? Chloe! I was crazy to even worry about you. I don't want that kind of trash anyway.
Just then, Lucas walked over and heard every word. Tears glistened in the corners of his eyes. He had stepped into Zoe and pulled her behind him. In front of everyone, Lucas kicked me 5 meters away. My body crashed into several bottles of red wine, and I was hit on the head, bleeding badly. Before I blacked out, I saw Lucas start to run toward me instinctively, then stop. After that, Lucas locked me up in a mansion. For over 2 months, I had no contact with the outside world. In one moment, I'd fallen from my pedestal into the abyss. On camera, people occasionally mentioned my name, but they brushed it off by saying I was traveling. Right. How could he ever have fallen for a girl who insulted him with money? He probably never loved me. I was held captive by Lucas every day, and I was slowly losing my mind. Living without sunlight was torture. Then I started hearing faint footsteps outside the mansion door. I felt like I'd caught a glimmer of hope. This time, I had to escape, expose what Lucas had done, and take back what was mine. My homeless friend Luna felt sorry for what I'd been through and even forgot to eat the food beside her.
So you ran away?
And ended up in this middle-of-nowhere place? I traced the only charm I had left on me and murmured. No. Lucas hated me so much. He wanted me gone from this world. Otherwise, how would I have ended up here? The day I heard footsteps outside, I pressed my ear to the door. When the footsteps got closer, I banged on the door and screamed for help.
Chloe?
I heard Zoe's voice and felt like I'd grabbed onto hope.
Zoe! Let me out! Zoe! Please, I won't get in between you and Lucas!
Just when I thought I might be saved, the sound outside stopped. Anxiety overwhelmed me. A few days later, Lucas came again. There was a thick door between us, and I couldn't see his face. His voice was colder than I'd ever heard it. He slipped a bank card through the crack in the door.
Leave here, Chloe. Go as far away as you can. Zoe and I are happy together. This is the money I owe you for keeping me. We're even now.
Silence fell outside the door. I held the bank card in my hand and cried until I couldn't breathe. That night, Lucas brought Zoe to the mansion. The dim yellow light stretched their shadows long, and I couldn't make out their faces. They looked like superior hunters staring at a dying prey. Zoe smiled coldly and ground the heel of her high heel into my right hand.
Still competing? Still trying to take control? Chloe, there can only be one daughter of the Wilson family, and that's me. I never wanted power. I never tried to compete with you. Is that right? Then why did you act so perfect? Just to get Mom and Dad's attention? I couldn't understand why Zoe was doing this to me. From the day she came back, I'd cared for her more than anyone except our parents. She'd even said I was the person who loved her most in the world, after Mom and Dad. Maybe she'd really fallen for Lucas and would do anything to have him. Lucas lifted my chin and clicked his tongue impatiently.
The only way Zoe and I can be left alone is if you're dead. You understand?
Lucas's expression was strange. His voice cracked, like he was holding back years of emotion. His brows were furrowed, like he'd been building up to this for a long time. I couldn't believe how much they'd changed. They were nothing like the sweet, innocent Zoe and quiet, thoughtful Lucas I'd known. Ignoring my pleas, they hit me over the head with a club. Pain exploded in my skull. After that, I was thrown into a sack, and I blacked out. When I woke up, I was here. Even the bank card Lucas gave me was gone. If I'd had it, I wouldn't have ended up with cancer from picking through trash every day. Luna, the homeless woman, was so angry she was fuming.
I actually thought they were big-time philanthropists. And you still have that stupid charm he made you?
Then she told me to stay in the cave and said she'd get me some fruit. I stared quietly at the dirt-covered charm as it rolled towards a pair of leather shoes. Lucas picked it up, and tears streamed down his face like pearls falling from a broken string. He stepped forward and tried to hug me out of nowhere, but I leaned away.
Chloe, please don't hate me. I had my reasons for what happened back then.
Just then, Zoe came running over, stumbling in her high heels. She didn't care that her knees were bleeding. She ran straight to me. "Sis, I've missed you so much." I looked at them coldly, wondering if they were putting on another show. Maybe the media was behind them, trying to get more clout.
I didn't believe them anymore.
But then I saw the outdated pink diamond necklace I'd given Zoe 4 years ago around her neck, and Lucas was wearing the belt I'd given him 7 years ago. It was frayed, but he still refused to replace it. I started to feel dazed. For 4 years, I'd been hating the wrong people. Lucas reached for my hand, and his heart ached at how broken I looked. I pulled my hand away coldly, unwilling to watch their fake kindness, but my throat felt tight, and I could barely breathe. But this place was so remote and poor, where could I find an ATM to extract money? Later, when I went to pick through trash for money, someone stole the card.
How generous of you, Mr. Lucas. Giving me a bank card and then dumping me somewhere I can't use it. Tired of acting? Must be exhausting for you.
I didn't dump you here, Chloe. Zoe and I searched for you for a long time.
I was surprised to hear that. A warm feeling spread through my chest and lingered, but my mouth stayed stubborn. Is that right? How thoughtful of you and your fiancé, to still think about a homeless nobody like me. Lucas sighed, about to speak again, when Zoe whispered urgently.
Lucas, the reporters are here. Hurry and get Sis out of sight.
I suddenly realized what was happening. If they took me now, I might never survive. I ran outside as fast as I could, hoping to expose their scandals in front of the reporters.
Zoe, distract the reporters. I'll get Chloe out of here.
Lucas saw what I was planning, covered my mouth, and dragged me aside.
Trust me just this once, okay?
I was muffled, making whimpering sounds. Trust him for what? Trust that he cheated? Or that he locked me up? Or that he dumped me in this remote mountain village? Suddenly, Lucas let go of me. The reporters and Zoe were gone.
Zoe isn't my fiancée. We've only been pretending. Give me a chance to explain, please.
For a moment, I couldn't tell if he was lying or telling the truth. Just then, my homeless friend Luna walked into the cave holding some fresh fruit. The second she saw Lucas, she nearly jumped.
What are you doing here?
Luna pushed Lucas hard with her oil-stained hands, trying to keep him away from me.
Where are you taking her now? She's dying. Can you just leave her alone?
What did you say? Chloe? She's dying?
Luna was startled by his reaction and stammered.
Yeah. She only has half a week left.
No, Chloe, you're not gonna die. I'll save you. I promise.
The intense emotions had made my condition worse. Everything went black, and I couldn't hear anything. When I opened my eyes, a ventilator was on my face, and machines beside me beeped rhythmically. Lucas was crying hysterically by the bed. Why did you cheat on me back then? Lucas, Did you hate me that much? I knew my life was almost over, so I spoke chivalry. He grabbed my shound and pressed it gently to his cheek. That's when I heard his version of the story. After Zoe came home, my parents found Lucas. Lucas thought they wanted to talk about our engagement, but instead, they told him to marry Zoe.
I'm sorry, Uncle Richard, Aunt Margaret, but I'll never marry anyone but Chloe.
The parents I'd always thought were kind and gentle started threatening him.
What if Chloe died?
Back then, Lucas was still a college student with no power to negotiate. That conversation ended without resolution. Later, Lucas found Zoe and begged her to talk to our parents. Zoe was upset too. She didn't want to be with Lucas either, but our parents refused to back down. The day I walked in on Lucas kneeling in front of Zoe, he was begging her to take good care of me. He was going to leave. Things could have ended peacefully there. I would have been safe, and Lucas could have left. But then my parents threatened Lucas's elderly grandparents. Lucas had no choice. He and Zoe agreed to pretend to be a couple in public, but nothing more. By then, almost everyone had given up on me and wanted me to disappear quietly. It wasn't surprising. With their power, it would have been easy. So Zoe fought her way to the top, desperate to gain control. All so she could keep me safe at the Wilson house. When Zoe and I fought at the party, our parents had ordered Lucas to stand up for Zoe, just to strengthen the act that they were in love.
I didn't mean it that time. I'm so sorry, Chloe.
You must have been so hurt.
Lucas brushed a strand of hair from my face and wiped the tears from my eyes. After our parents locked me away, Lucas and Zoe searched everywhere for me. They even asked the police for help, but they couldn't find me. That time, they begged our parents for me, and they finally agreed to send me away safely. But to make me give up and hate them for the rest of my life, they staged that whole scene.
I was so scared something would happen to you back then.
But thankfully, everything's okay now. I have the power to protect you now.
Lucas had built Carter Group from nothing and become its CEO. Zoe had also gained control of shares in the family business. They had no idea where our parents had sent me. So they held charity galas all over the country. This was the 152nd gala they'd hosted together. Hearing the truth, my heart shattered. My fingers trembled as I held back the urge to break down. In my mind, my parents had loved me like their own. No one had ever been kinder to me. They'd encouraged me when I was down, given me resources, and even told the media they were looking for me. Was all of it fake? Tears slid silently down my cheeks. It felt like a heavy weight was pressing on my chest, and every breath hurt. Before I leave, I'm going to make them pay.
Relax, you're not going to die. I'm here. This time, we're going to get revenge. I've been waiting 4 years for this.
They didn't want me exposed to the media, afraid our parents would find out I was back. In 1 week, it would be our parents' wedding anniversary. They were throwing a lavish gala. I wanted to give them a surprise. Then, everything would come out. The doctor handed Lucas a lab report. The results? Stomach cancer and acute gastric Markobla disease. When I first arrived in the village, all I could think about was escaping. But the remote village was so backward that there was no way out. People fought over food when the relief station came. At first, I couldn't get any. To survive, I eventually pushed my way to the front, no matter what. And there wasn't always porridge. Most days, I went hungry. People fought over food when the relief station came. At first, I couldn't get any. To survive, I eventually pushed my way to the front, no matter what. And there wasn't always porridge. Most days, I went hungry. Later, I noticed long-haul trucks coming through the village every day. I begged them for help, holding up my bank card saying I'd split the money with them once we got out. They agreed to my face, but that night, while I slept, they stole the card. When I woke up, I had nothing, and I'd lost the money. To survive, I had to dig through trash cans and live under a rundown bridge. We looked forward to the relief station's visits more than anything.
I brought your friend here too. I got her a job and a steady place to live. When did you get sick?
I didn't know. All I knew was that my stomach hurt constantly. I thought I just hadn't eaten enough to save for a clinic visit. That's when I found out I only had 3 months left. By the last stretch of my life, I'd almost made peace with it. I met you and Zoe during the second month. Lucas didn't say anything. He just squeezed my hand tighter. His eyes were full of pity. Not long after, Zoe pushed open the hospital door and walked in. She reached out and hugged me, just like I'd held her and patched her back to calm her down when she had nightmares 4 years ago.
Sis, I'm so sorry.
A Wilson daughter wearing a 4-year-old design, don't you think it's out of style? This was a gift from you. It could never be out of style. All the evidence is in here.
So do I.
Hearing the familiar voices play back, my heart felt like it was being squeezed tight. I looked at Zoe in shock.
They're your birth parents. Are you sure you want to do this?
They stopped being my parents a long time ago. Their love only lasted for the little while after I first came back to the Wilson house. Under Lucas and Zoe's care, I started to feel a little strong, but I still had to go through chemotherapy regularly. The doctor had told me privately that my cancer was terminal. There was no cure. Chemotherapy wouldn't do any good. I didn't tell Lucas or Zoe. I didn't know how to. They held on to so much hope that they could heal me. But things weren't that simple. I just wanted to spend these last moments with them. A week later, my parents threw a lavish gala at the biggest hotel in the city. When I arrived in my gown, the ushers stopped me.
Miss Chloe?
Had my parents already found out I was coming? My heart raised. Suddenly, I heard the usher speak behind me.
Miss Zoe has asked you to wait in the VIP lounge.
I let out a breath of relief. I had all the evidence now. I just had to face them. But as soon as the usher led me into the VIP room, the wide door slammed shut.
I'm sorry, Miss Wilson. These are Mrs. Margaret's orders, and she wants me to tell you, you're still too young.
Sure enough, they knew everything. Thankfully, Lucas had known what my parents were like and kept a backup.
You're going to regret this, Lucas.
Just then, I heard music start outside. Mixed in was the sound of my parents threatening Lucas, their rule and sharp. The audio was playing. Chaos erupted. Reporters scrambled to cover the story, all wanting the exclusive. I waited quietly. Usher in front of me was panicking. Lucas's voice came from outside the door. I clearly heard other footsteps, too. The door flew open, and dozens of reporters snapped photos of us.
Is this Miss Chloe, the one who went missing 4 years ago? Miss Chloe, can you tell us what you've been through? Miss Wilson, how do you feel about your parents?
Lucas said nothing and led me straight to the center of the ballroom.
Miss Wilson, is Mr. Lucas really your sister's fiancé?
Our parents were surrounded by a crowd, scrambling to explain themselves. Suddenly, they saw me and rushed over crying, as if I were a treasure.
Chloe, you're finally home. Where have you been for 4 years?
My mother pulled me into her arms, playing the loving mom for the crowd. Mom, you're the one who sent me away. Did you forget? You locked me up for months. Do you need me to remind you? Panic flashed across Margaret's face, but she was too experienced to be shaken easily.
Chloe, what are you talking about? Your mother and I searched for you for 4 years.
Just then, my father stepped in front of me.
Your mother nearly lost her mind looking for you. Why would we send you away when you were so perfect?
Sure enough, the crowd calmed down, and the moment was under his control. The crowd murmured around us. Dad, you were the one who planned it, right? All because I'm your illegitimate daughter. Reporters turned back and forth between me and my father, noticing the resemblance.
Do you have any proof for this nonsense?
Zoe rushed over holding a piece of paper.
The proof is right here.
One day when the 4 of us were camping on the rooftop, Zoe's boyfriend Ryan suddenly said,
I almost think Chloe's Wilson's real daughter, too. She looks just like Mr. Richard.
For a moment, everyone froze. They stared closely at me. Zoe had stayed up all night to get that DNA test.
Stop filming.
She held it up to the cameras so everyone could read the words clearly.
I've got extras.
Zoe pulled another one out from behind her and smiled playfully. The scene was chaotic. For a split second, I thought I saw Margaret's eyes turn red. I'd known since I was little that my family was perfect. A happy marriage, wealth and power, parents who loved each other, no scandals at all. Stories of rich men cheating, women straying, divorces, inheritance fights, affairs, and drama didn't touch us. I lived every day feeling happy, loved, and content. Then one day, curious, I secretly followed my father to work, but he took a road that led to a cemetery. It was the first time I'd met his late first love. I looked just like her, about 40% alike. That's when I understood why father had always loved me so much. But to keep my family perfect, I kept the secret to myself. For countless nights, I felt guilty towards Margaret. The day I planned to tell her the truth, Zoe came home. Their biased love made me push the secret to the back of my mind. Up until now, Father couldn't figure out how I'd found out.
I can't believe you really had a child with her. I wondered why you were so determined to send Chloe away. You were afraid I'd find out.
I should have been grateful for my curiosity that day. Otherwise, I never would have had the chance to fight back. Margaret, my mother, covered her mouth and sobbed quietly. She cried uncontrollably. They'd been planning to get rid of me since the day Zoe first came home. They saw Lucas was talented, steady, and responsible, so they wanted their real daughter to marry him. They thought forcing Lucas and Zoe together would work out eventually. Just like countless marriage alliances in wealthy families, they marry first and fall in love later, letting fate Aconso seal the bond. Maybe they'd been wrong from the start. Father stood there silently, letting Mother vent her frustration. After a few seconds, he grabbed her arm and hurried away. Reporters chased after them for blocks. Before he left, Father shot Zoe a fierce glare. The scandal spread like wildfire, and the Wilson family was sure to suffer.
I already bought shares in other companies. I transferred all my assets out. Don't worry, sis. I won't lose much.
Our parents were convicted of illegal imprisonment for over 4 months. They were sentenced to just over 5 years. They got divorced before going to prison. Margaret said the biggest regret of her life was marrying Richard. Maybe there was no such thing as real love in wealthy families. Before they went to jail, they never even gave me a proper apology. Father said he was sorry, but he'd sent me far away to keep Margaret from finding out the truth. When you locked me alone in that mansion, didn't you feel sorry for me even a little? He stayed silent and left. My mother began to hate me. She hated that I was born at all, destroying their perfect family. 20 years of love and care wiped away in an instant. Even hearing those cruel words, I couldn't stop the Yenlei.
Sis, it's not your fault. This is their mistake. Don't take it on yourself.
From now on, we're family to each other.
I wanted a future too. But the doctor had given me a critical notice. Chloe died. She passed away quietly. One peaceful night. Zoe cried so hard she could barely breathe.
I thought we could cure you. I thought there was still hope. Sis, if you're gone, I have no family left in this world.
She wished Chloe would lift a hand and wipe her tears like she used to. But Chloe lay still, covered by a white sheet. Lucas stood in the hospital hallway, his face drained of color.
I was too late. Previously, Zoe and I kept the truth from Chloe.
Now Chloe had left them quietly without saying a word.
We're even now. The night before she died, Chloe asked me, "You never hated me, did you? Back then I used money to make you yield. I never hated, not even for a second. I was even grateful that you gave me the chance to rise up. Chloe, I love you. So much." Half a month later, Zoe buried her ashes in the cemetery on the west of city. From there you could see the sunrise over the whole city. I thought she'd like that. Zoe stood in front of the tombstone, her eyes swollen like walnuts. Zoe held the pink zands tightly and placed gently in front shell.
Lucas. From now on, we're each other's only family, right?
Yes. She'd want us to live well.
As we left the cemetery, it started to drizzle.
I want to shift part of Wilson's business.
What kind of shift?
Medical aid, specifically for critically ill patients in poor areas.
The last part of my sister's life was so hard. I don't want anyone else to lose treatment because they're poor.
I agreed.
3 days later, I went to the mountain hospital. I found the doctor who had treated Chloe.
Mr. Lucas, what brings you here? I want to know exactly what her final days were like.
The doctor sighed and pulled her file from the cabinet. I flipped through the file, my fingertips trembling. It documented every painful reaction to chemotherapy: vomiting, hair loss, unbearable pain. But she never said a word. I closed the file, a tightness in my chest. That was just like her, bearing everything alone. On my way out of the hospital, I ran into the homeless woman, Luna. The hospital had given her a job as a cleaner and a staff dorm. When she saw me, she trotted over.
Mr. Lucas, I want to visit Chloe.
Luna stood before the grave for a long time, then pulled a small cloth bag from her pocket. She opened it, revealing a few colorful glass beads.
These are what Chloe and I found under the bridge. We thought they were so pretty, like real jewels.
She looked at me, and in that moment I understood. They weren't just beads. They were a piece of her sister, a piece of the past she couldn't let go to.
Her voice cracked. I looked away so she wouldn't see my tears. Why?
Mr. Lucas, I want to learn to read and write.
I arranged for a tutor. When Zoe heard, she offered to pay for her night classes. A month later, the Wilson Medical Aid Foundation officially launched. Zoe and I attended the opening ceremony. A reporter asked why we'd started the program. The foundation's first project was upgrading the Mountain Hospital's medical facilities.
For my sister. When she needed help, no one reached out. Now we want to be that help for others.
We donated equipment and sent specialist teams. We also set up a special fund for poor patients' treatment. Thank you, Redector, which to get you to Mether Dector. Can you see this? We're doing what you wanted. 2 more months passed. I sat next to the grave, talking to her like I used to. It got dark. I stood up to leave, when I suddenly saw a butterfly on the grave. I believed that was her.